Advocate on the mic, never hesitate to spit truth with every breath that I respirate. I'm coming harder than ever, no time to rest or wait. Cause when they pitching that doctrine, I'm stepping to the plate. Safe, walk not by sight, only by faith. Never catch me feeling low, my spirit's always great. Cause you see the enemy has a major scheme to instill in the world low self-esteem. Lucifer's working, he's always lurking in the light. In the shadows, he's creeping, that old serpent on his belly. Yeah, he's slick, he slithers, he's so bitter. Fabricate your desires and turn you into a sinner, Now he got you thinking you a winner. Use your flesh to death and toss your soul to his critters, his demons. He's an angel of light, you bet he's beaming. Serving him feels right until you in hell screaming. Expose him, no protection, I dumped away all the Trojans. Spiritual fornication, I'm gonna beat it till it's broken. Now my spirit, then I'm taking the blood and I'm smearing on the grave of that old man that didn't wanna hear it or fear it. It's some major keys written up in these lyrics. Mortify your evil eye, then look at the world's appearance is ugly. But Yeshaya is coming hard with the judgment, purging the world from all the wicked doers that love it, Christ coming back, he's going Rambo. Look, I'm just a man, bro. I can't protect you, but I can show you his plan, though. What does it profit to gain the world and lose your soul? Christ coming back, he's going Rambo. Oh, it's all good, you chilling in the Lambo. Your foundation is sinking in quicksand, bro. You need to come to the Lord before you lose your soul. Come around here and I'ma put these hands on you. Quote Nehemiah and watch them fan on you. If they dismissive, I'm beating they sin into submission. In my house we serve the Lord, wicked opposition. Hit the road else, these scriptures gon' cut your soul. Set your members on fire and make you tuck and roll. Hear the word, now your fleshy nature is gripping hold. These demonic possessions, they got you speaking bold. This is the last time, for the last time I rest from telling you to repent and do best. Digress, understand that the wages of sin is death. Get left, cause living right is a burden on your chest. Guilt is gripping upon your neck. I'll correct everything the destroyer came to wreck. Slit your throat and let all the lies of your tongue project. That last, the way truth and the light can manifest, Christ coming back, he's going Rambo. Look, I'm just a man, bro. I can't protect you, but I can show you his plan, though. What does it profit to gain the world and lose your soul? Christ coming back, he's going Rambo. Oh, it's all good, you chilling in the Lambo. Your foundation is sinking in quicksand, bro. You need to come to the Lord before you lose your soul.
Oh my God!
I just like this.
Out of these troubled times, our fifth objective, a new world order can emerge, a new era, freer from the threat of terror, stronger in the pursuit of justice, and more secure in the quest for peace. An era in which the nations of the world, East and West, North and South, can prosper and live in harmony. 100 generations have searched for this elusive path to peace, while 1,000 wars raged across the span of human endeavor. And today that new world is struggling to be born. A world quite different from the one we've known. A world where the rule of law supplants the rule of the jungle. A world in which nations recognize the shared responsibility for freedom and justice. A world where the strong respect the rights of the weak. We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders. What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind: peace and security, freedom, and the rule of law. Such is a world worthy of our struggle and worthy of our children's future. Now we can see a new world coming into view. A world in which there is the very real prospect of a new world order. In the words of Winston Churchill, a world order in which the principles of justice and fair play protect the weak against the strong. A world where the United Nations, freed from Cold War stalemate, is poised to fulfill the historic vision of its founders.
All right, Shabbat Shalom, family.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters and everybody streaming throughout the four corners of the earth. One moment. All right, Shabbat Shalom, family.
Shabbat Shalom.
We turn this volume off. Streaming throughout the four corners of the earth. One moment. All right. All right. How's everybody doing out there? Everybody's good? All right. Once again, Shabbat Shalom, family. You're now tuned in to the Body of Christ Kingdom YouTube page. I'm Brother Hazak, and with me is Brother Yahal, and we're here with another Sabbath edition, right? Tonight, the title of tonight's lesson, and first and foremost, I hope you guys, like the track. The track really went well with the title of tonight's lesson, right? The title of tonight's lesson is the New World Order versus Christ and his people, right? The New World Order versus Christ and his people. So we would like to give all praise to the Most High, Ahaya, Ashar Ahaya, Bahashim Yeshaya, right? Wa Rawak Kwadash, which is the Holy Spirit. So we're gonna go right into it today, right? The New World Order versus Christ and his people, right? And the reason why we got the title for tonight's lesson this way is because of recent events, and we're gonna investigate those recent events too. But first, before we investigate those recent events, we gotta see how these things actually played out, like how we got to the point where we are today, right? With the world, right? So you could say this is more so of like a prophetic type of lesson, speaking of prophecy, speaking of what's going to take place in the near future, and what does this have to do with us and the Most High's chosen people, right? And the world. The first scripture I want to open up with today is the book of Jeremiah. In this book of Jeremiah, Jeremiah speaks about specific events that's going to solely affect the Most High's people, right? One moment. I want to see how the feedback is on the... All right, everything is good. I want to make sure the stream is going good. All right? And if you have any issues with the stream, or if you're experiencing any lag or the sound quality, try to refresh your page. All right. So I said the first scripture we're going to go into is the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah 30:1. I want to take it there to investigate tonight's topic. The New World Order versus Christ and his people. So take it from there.
Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 1.
Go ahead.
The word that came to Jeremiah from the Most High, saying, Thus speaketh the Lord power of Israel, saying, Write thee all the words that I have spoken unto thee in a book.
Go ahead.
For lo, the day is come, saith the Most High, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah.
So the Most High said that the time will come when he will bring again the captivity of Israel and his servant Judah. Right? What is this talking about? This is talking about bringing back his people out of captivity. Right? Go ahead.
And I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it.
And he will cause them to say that again?
To return
He will cause them to return
to the land that I gave to their fathers.
to return to the land that he gave to their fathers. Go ahead.
And they shall possess it.
And they shall possess it. So there's going to be a time where the Most High chosen people will enter back into the land. And we're going to even investigate the Most High's land today too, concerning this struggle, this battle between good and evil. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 4. And these are the words that the Most High spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah.
So these are the words concerning the Most High's chosen people in the last days. Go ahead.
Verse 5. For thus saith the Most High, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace.
We have heard of a voice of trembling and of fear, but not of peace. Go ahead.
Ask ye now, and see whether a man doeth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness?
Go ahead.
Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble.
So the Most High said that he's calling this era, this time period, Jacob's trouble. Of all the things that has taken place on this earth concerning his people, is actually called Jacob's trouble. And Jacob's been in this trouble since the time of 70 AD. Or you could say up until the time when Christ was crucified and resurrected. That's when the children of Israel entered that phase of Jacob's trouble, which we are still currently living to this day. All right? Go ahead.
But he shall be saved out of it.
But what?
But he shall be saved out of it.
But the children of Israel will be saved out of Jacob's trouble. You see that? Despite what we hear going on, wars and rumors of wars, right? The non-stop killing of our people, and defaming our people on these news networks and showing us as criminals and the poor and the impoverished. The Most High swears to us and our fathers that what? We will be saved out of all of these conditions. But things would have to take place before the saving, and then we're going to go into that today, right? Go ahead.
Verse 8. For it shall come to pass in that day,
Yep.
saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck.
He said that he will break his yoke from off of our necks. Who's his? That is talking about our oppressors, those who the Most High set over his people as taskmasters. Right? Go ahead.
And will burst thy bonds.
And burst thy bonds. Go ahead.
And strangers shall no more serve themselves of him.
You see? And strangers shall no more serve themselves of us. You see that? Verse
9. But they shall serve the Most High their power, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them.
So the Most High is going to make it once he frees us, right? Because all of the troubles that's going to take place is leading up to our freedom. So the Most High will have it where after we're freed, we'll be able to serve our king, our ruler, which is Christ, in our land. And we're going to get that later on tonight too. But go ahead.
Verse 10. Therefore fear thou not.
See, therefore fear thy not, right?
O my servant Jacob.
You see that? So we're not supposed to be afraid in these times. Right? Go ahead.
Saith the Most High, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar.
See that? The Most High swears that he will save us from afar. Right? So, but like I said, during the time of Jacob's trouble, because something that has to happen before the salvation of the Most High's people. You know, the church would call it the time of tribulation, right? You know, right before the so-called rapture. You know, that's what the church would call it. But the Bible actually, and the Most High calls this Jacob's trouble, right? So now let's go into, wait, matter of fact, before we even go into the brief history lesson that I have prepared for you guys, I want to get some more scriptures on what we need to be doing during this time period of Jacob's trouble. And that's identifying Satan and his agents. Right? This is what we're going to be going into in depth today. The investigation of Satan and his agents that are going to be used during Jacob's trouble. And we're gonna tie this whole thing together for you, so that way nothing is left, for doubt after this lesson, right? Let's go to Revelations 2 and 9. Let's read that real quick. Revelation 2 and 9, Christ is speaking to his people here, right? And he's identifying a group of people on this earth that will be used to deceive and destroy the Most High's chosen people. Go ahead.
Revelation chapter 2, verse 9.
Go ahead.
I know thy works, and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich.
So this is Christ speaking and identifying his people. He said, I know my people are going through tribulation, Jacob's trouble. I know that my people are impoverished, living in the slums, in the ghettos, and in projects. I know my people is suffering throughout the four corners of the earth. I know my people is on welfare and food stamps and Section 8. I know that. But in actuality, you are the richest thing on this earth. For within you is the kingdom. Go ahead.
And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews.
And I know the what?
The blasphemy.
I know the blasphemy, the lies of those who are saying they are Jews.
And are not.
And are not. What are they?
But are the synagogue of Satan.
They are the synagogue of Satan. So Christ identified a group of people on this earth who lie and say they are Jews and are not. But they are the synagogue of Satan. These are the people that we have to reveal for us to be able to understand who's behind Jacob's trouble. Right? How do we know that? Go to 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 7. Go ahead.
2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 7. For the mystery of iniquity doeth already work.
Read that again.
For the mystery of iniquity doeth already work.
So Paul was even telling us that the mystery of sins, or the mysteries of iniquities, doeth already work, right? And you see, that's why I feel bad for the people in the churches. They're waiting for the rapture, okay, and the revealing of the Antichrist, when sin is already prevalent around us. It's already working. That's why it's called a mystery, because why? They haven't yet investigated what's sin yet. Okay, they don't even know what sin is yet in these churches. They haven't been taught that. So Paul is identifying something. Paul is saying, like, look, you guys are waiting for something to happen when it's already happening. The mysteries of iniquity doeth already work. Go ahead.
Only he who now letteth will let.
See, only he who now letteth will let, which is the Most High. Go ahead.
Until he be taken out of the way.
You see, until he be taken out of the way. Who's that he? That man of sin. And his agents, the synagogue of Satan. Go ahead.
Verse 8. And then shall that wicked be revealed.
And then shall that wicked be revealed. So once Christ, okay, was taken into the heavens and into his throne, right? The disciples and the apostles were able to identify to the people who are Satan's minions, who's working against them. This is why we have the knowledge of who's working against us in this day and age. Jacob's trouble, right?
Mm-hmm.
What verse he was at?
8 in the middle.
Go ahead. Continue.
Verse 8 in the middle. Whom the Most High shall consume with the spirit of his mouth.
Whom shall the Most High shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. Go ahead.
And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming.
Okay. Go ahead.
Verse 9. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders.
See that? So Christ will come back to destroy even those who are working with Satan, right? Who's using lying wonders and the technology of this earth to deceive the elect, right? So we're here tonight to investigate and to expose the wicked, those who's behind all of the sins and the atrocities of this earth. Who's responsible for this? Okay? And I'm here, and we're here to tell you tonight, if you believe that this is a world that's being ran by the Creator, the Heavenly Father Himself, you have been lied to. Okay? This world is totally being ran by Satan. For those of you who don't know that yet, we're here to tell you that this world is being ran by Lucifer himself. The Most High God is not ruling and is not controlling what's going on as far as politics and government and the healthcare system and the financial system. The Most High is not behind that. You're going to find out this is a Luciferian world. Matter of fact, let's get that understanding. Let's get that in the book of Job. The scripture that tells you that for the world is given into the hand of the wicked. Go ahead.
The book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
The Most High said that the earth has been given into the hands of the wicked. So the world is being ran by wicked people under a satanic rule. You guys gotta drill that in your mind. Right? Go ahead.
He covereth the faces of the judges thereof.
He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. Go ahead.
If not, where and who is he?
If not, where and who is he? And we're going to expose who he is today. Okay? What is he doing? Who is he using? Right? So the Most High said that the world has been given into the hands of the wicked. You're going to come to find out that everything that you see playing out in politics has already been written and is scripted. Everything that you hear on the news has already been written and is scripted. They're just playing it out. Okay? There's an unseen hand behind all of the wars that's been taking place. And we're gonna speak about some of those briefly. Okay? So now we understand that Christ identified the synagogue of Satan as liars and blasphemers, right? There's something here that the Most High was also speaking about concerning the synagogue of Satan, right? Go to the book of Obadiah. This is a prophecy concerning the heads of the synagogue of Satan. Those who have pledged allegiance to Lucifer. Those who have already pledged allegiance to the fallen one. Right? And we're going to investigate these men. Okay? I just want to bring out these scriptures before I go into the history of what we're speaking about tonight, right? I said the book of Obadiah, right? Mm-hmm. Start at verse 6, please. Obadiah, verse 6.
The book of Obadiah, 1, verse 6.
Uh-huh.
How are the things of Esau searched out?
So the question is, how are the things of Esau searched out? How can you understand Esau and his ways? What is the logic behind the things that he do? Go ahead.
How are his hidden things sought up?
How are his hidden things sought up? And if you know anything about the higher ups of Esau, they are very secretive with their secret societies, their secret meetings, right? But we're going to expose all that tonight. Believe it or not, we're going to expose it. Go ahead.
Verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border.
So now this prophecy is speaking about all of the men or the nations that Esau once made treaties with, once made deals with, will turn against them. Okay, go ahead.
The men that were at peace with thee
See, the men that were at peace with you
have deceived thee.
have deceived you. Why? You're going to come to find out that everybody hates Esau. I'm talking about the higher ups, because there's no agreement that you can make with the heads of Esau, because they are totally sold out to Lucifer. Totally 100% sold out to Satan. Go ahead.
And prevailed against thee.
And what?
And prevailed against
And
thee.
they will prevail against thee. Go ahead.
They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee.
You see that? They that eat thy bread, meaning those who are eating comfortably or financially, rich because of you, they will turn against you. Right? Go ahead.
There is none understanding in him.
There is no understanding in Esau. Okay? No matter how many times you try to have peace talks, you try to have verbal agreements, written contracts, there's something that drives Esau that's different from other men. What is that? Power, dominion, submission. And these things, what you will find out, was taken from him through our father Jacob. Right? And that's what Esau is driven off. World domination. Trying to receive the promises that he lost because of his disobedience. Because of his hate for his brother. Go ahead.
Verse 8. Shall I not in that day, saith the Most High, even destroy the wise men out of Edom?
Go ahead.
And understanding out of the mount of Esau. Verse 9. And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed. To the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter.
Every one of the what?
That every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter.
Every one of the mount of Esau shall be cut off by slaughter. This is talking about those who understand that their God is Lucifer, and they've made written contracts with blood with this God. This is talking about the higher ups, and we're gonna identify the highest family of agents tonight. We're gonna investigate them. Like how the Most High have his prophets, his high prophets. Satan also has prophets as well. You're gonna come to find out who they are. Go ahead.
Verse 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob.
For what?
For thy violence against thy brother Jacob.
For thy violence against thy brother Jacob.
Shame shall cover thee.
Shame shall cover thee. Okay? Who's Jacob? The 12 tribes. Who are the 12 tribes? Your so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, and those who are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. The Hawaiians, right? We have some of them in Japan, some of them in Africa still. A majority of them still in Africa. Okay?
Europe.
In Europe. But go ahead.
Verse 10 at the end. And thou shalt be cut off forever.
And thou shalt be what?
Cut off forever.
Thou shalt be, for their violence against their brother Jacob, they shall be cut off forever. These are they that willing, or that knowingly, okay, know who Jacob is and have a systematic system to destroy Jacob off the face of the earth. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 11. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side.
In the day when thou stoodest on the other side.
In the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces. And foreigners entered into his gates.
And what?
And foreigners entered into his gates.
See? And foreigners entered into his gates.
And cast lots upon Jerusalem.
And cast lots upon Jerusalem.
Even thou wast as one of them.
Even thou was as one of them. They were the head conspirators behind the selling of our land. And this bring me to my first point. All right? As far as how they were able to get into the land. Because we just read, okay? We just read in I would say in Jeremiah, right? Jeremiah 30, that the Most High will bring the children of Israel back into the land. Right? But now here we're reading here in the book of Obadiah that Esau had something to do with why other people is in our land right now. Finish reading that off.
That was it. This is 12 now.
Go ahead, read 12.
Verse 12.
Yeah.
But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother, in the day that he became a stranger.
You see that? When we was cast out of the land for our disobedience and sent away with, by cargo slave ships throughout the four corners of the earth to serve in slavery, Esau should have never looked upon our land and upon our destruction. Go ahead.
Verse 12 in the middle. Neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah.
Neither shall they have rejoiced over our forefathers, the children of Judah,
in the day of their destruction.
in the day of our destruction. Go ahead.
Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress.
See, neither shall they have spoken proudly, like, yeah, this is our land now. We got a land for the Jewish people. This is us. Go ahead.
Verse 14. Neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape.
You see that? You should have never been there with the Roman armies in 70 AD to stop us from fleeing into Africa. Should have never done that. And this is talking about the heads of Esau. We're going to identify them right now. The top ruling family of Esau right now that is under Satan. Continuing the continual destruction of our people behind the curtains. Right? All day and night they'll make you believe on the news is black on black crime. Is we killing ourselves. But there's an unseen hand that's fueling the fire. Right? Go ahead.
14 in the middle. Neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress.
You see that? What they did with the rest of our people who remained in the land. Slaughtered and killed them. And sold the rest of our brothers and sisters to the Ishmaelites, the Arabs. Go ahead.
15.
No, that's it.
All right.
So I said that Esau had a hand in who's in our land today, right? This brings me to the first history lesson, right? I'm going to speak about something called the Balfour Declaration. Who is Balfour? Right? Sir Arthur James Balfour. Right? On your screen, you're going to see I have a copy of that letter that was written, okay, in the year 1917. And this is before the Jewish people went into the land. Right? So on your screen, you see on your right-hand side, it says Palestine for the Jews. Right? This is when they actually went into our land. Right? The title, Official Sympathy. But I want you to see something before we actually read the letter. Matter of fact, let me read this. It says, Mr. Balfour, I'm reading from the right-hand side. Mr. Balfour has sent the following letter to who? Lord Rothschild. Remember this name. So Mr. Balfour has sent the following letter to Lord Rothschild in regard to the establishment of a national home in Palestine for the Jewish people. Okay, so now on the left, it's probably too small for you to read it. This is the actual letter that was written. This was written by Sir Arthur James Balfour, right? And in the bottom here, here's what he says in the letter. But on the left-hand side, it says, "Dear Lord Rothschild." And if you know anything about the word Lord, the word Lord actually means master. So here's another man calling another man master. Who is this guy called Rothschild? Now, in the letter, he says, "I have much pleasure in conveying to you on behalf of His Majesty government." This is talking about the Great Britain's government, right? The following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations, which has been submitted to and approved by the cabinet. His Majesty government viewed with favor the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people, and will use their best endeavors to facilitate the achievement of this object. It being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine. Basically, he's here thanking Lord Rothschild, okay, for acquiring or for allowing them to go into the land, or making it possible to go into the land of Palestine. Right? So like I said, why is the government of Great Britain thinking, okay, Rothschild, Lord Rothschild? Who is this Rothschild? How is he so great? And how is he above all the other governments to allow them, the Jewish people, to go into Palestine? Right? Let's pay attention here. On your screen, these are the men, these are the descendants right here of who we just read about, Lord Rothschild. It was actually Lord Jacob Rothschild. That was his first name before he passed on. These are the men right now currently ruling in his stead. Right? We got Nathaniel, Guy, Benjamin, David, Renee, Evelyn, and on the last man, Jacob Rothschild. Okay? These are the men that come from that are the descendants of that man, Lord Rothschild. What's the importance of them and what they have to do with us? Everything. You're going to come to find out that these people, these men, that family alone, okay, is working hand in hand with Lucifer himself. Okay? And we're going to show you testimonials and accounts of people even speaking about them. Right? Because growing up in school, they never taught us about this family here. There was never in government. There was never spoken about within government. But who are they? That and what's so special about them that a government or a kingdom or a nation of people, you know, reach out to them to thank them, to give them a thank you letter? Who are they? What's so special about them? Right? These men here, the Rothschilds. Okay? On your screen, here's a quote from one of their forefathers. He's actually the father. He's actually where this whole thing started. Mayer Amschel Rothschild, right? He said, "Let me issue and control a nation's money, and I care not who writes the laws." Right? So a brief history on the Rothschilds, right? So before he was given the name Rothschild, his full name was Mayer Amschel Breyer, right? Born 1743. He was an Ashkenazi Jew, right? And you're going to come to find out all of them is Jewish. Okay? All of them in politics, they're all Jewish. Ashkenazi Jews. The Jews is running everything right now. All right? Born 1743 out of Frankfurt, Germany. This is where they all came from, Germany. Right? His father was a money changer or a money loaner. Right? There was a first form with it before there was banks. His father was doing that, and he just took that and upgraded it to the 100th power. Right? Because with Mayer Amschel Rothschild, right, came in what's called as world banks. And where did he get the name Rothschild from? Right? On your screen, you should see something. It says Rothschild, right? You want to read that?
It says Rothschild, meaning red shield.
Meaning what?
Red shield.
Take a look at the picture on your left. What do you see there? The so-called Star of David. Right? And you're going to come to find out this is their symbol. Okay, go ahead.
In 1577, the Bauer family changed the name to Rothschild.
See, they changed their name to Rothschild. Go ahead.
And assumed the six-pointed star as logo for business.
And assumed the six-pointed star as a logo for business. Now you can see where that symbol came from on the Israeli flag. They gave Israel that symbol because it's all them. Right? Go ahead.
The Bauer family, Rothschild family, were Ashkenazi
You
Jews,
see that? They're all Ashkenazi Jews. Jewish. Converts. Go ahead.
not of the Holy Land,
Not of the Holy Land.
but of what is now part of Russia.
You see that? They came from parts of Russia, which is called Khazaria. Right? Go ahead.
Insignia, ensign, signature, signs, signals are all very important to the worshippers of Baal.
See? These symbols are important to worshippers of Baal. Go ahead.
The ancient god of Babylon.
The ancient god of Babylon. Okay? So if you got any brother or sister who's sporting that sign, that's the ancient sign of Babylon. You're actually worshiping Lucifer. And they worship Lucifer, the fallen one. Okay? So this man, Amschel Rothschild, started the whole system of what we know as, what we call today as banks. Okay? The financial system. All right? Because back then, how they did things, it was a barter system. If you had gold and I had gold, I would be able to buy and sell from you, right? But this man found a way, right, to say, you know what? I want to start a system where I have all the gold, right? But I'm going to institute what's called loans. And I'm not just talking about I'm going to give loans to the small people. He started a system where he was able to finance whole countries. So how they gain so much power is what? We're gonna give a certain country a loan, and through that loan we'll be able to own that country, right? That's why he was able, to have this saying: "Let me issue and control a nation's money, and I care not who writes the laws," right? So he started off with 5 major countries where they had a central bank in each country, right? And this is knowledge that they don't teach us in school. Like, this information is out there, but I wonder why they didn't teach us this in school, right? He started by putting banks in every major nation, starting with Berlin, which is Germany, right? His home country. They set up a system where they was lending large amounts of money that they knew that the country would not be able to pay off, keeping the countries in debt to them. So they started off with a major bank in Germany. They started out with another major bank in Vienna, which is Austria today. They started with another central bank in Paris, which is France. Then another one in Naples, which is Italy, and then in London, Great Britain. So these 5 countries was under the control of the Rothschilds at that time, okay? And now we have it where all of the countries in this world, on the world right now, in the world, is controlled by a central bank, owned and operated and controlled by the Rothschilds. They started the implementation of what's called, checks and balances, right? So these 5 countries was under the Rothschilds' control, right? Let me take a picture, give you a picture of the men who's actually in his stead. So these men control the world right now through their banks, right? I know it might be sound far-fetched to somebody, but these men own the world right now by putting the world in what's called debt. Because why? The world used to use gold, but now what we use? Paper money, right? Here in the United States, in New Jersey, is the Federal Reserve, where all the money is being printed. And I have a funny story about the Federal Reserve that I'm going to share. As a matter of fact, I'll share with you right now, just to show you the power of what this bank, can do, or what the Federal Reserve can do, and what the Rothschilds are doing throughout the 4 corners of the earth. Years ago, right, I used to work for an armed guard company, right? And I was an armed guard, and once in a while we would have to take a trip, they would say, yo, we got to go to the Fed today. That was short term for the Federal Reserve. So, one day I was sent to go out, right? Because the guys who usually go, his partner wasn't there, so I was hanging around in the facility, so they sent me out with the truck driver. So I was like, where we going? He's like, yo, we going to the Fed, man. You ever been there before? I was like, nah, I never been there. He's like, all right, you're gonna see. So, and this is years ago, like this is before I had any knowledge of what's going on. I said the Federal Reserve, I was like, all right, that's a place where they get money. But I didn't know the significance of this place at that time. Young man. All right, I'm still a young man too, so. But we on our way to the Federal Reserve. Is out in New Jersey, right? And we're driving an 18-wheeler. We heading out there. So we finally get there. And from what I can remember, I seen like from the entrance, there were 2 guards in the front. And they both holding M16s, and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I never seen nothing like this before in my life. So he was like, yeah, they gotta screen us. I'm like, all right. So we going in there, and we pull in the truck into a bay area, and it got really dark, and I didn't know, I didn't know what was going on, but there was armed guards everywhere. And they didn't have, like, we was carrying 9mm because we was armed guards, but they had M16s. Assault rifles in this place, right? And my partner, he was allowed to go in because he was already screened to go in. I couldn't really go into where he was going because that was my first time there. I was just there for like backup. So, but my partner, when he jumped out, he had to leave his gun and everything, his bullets, everything. He couldn't go in there armed. They wasn't playing with none of us. Even though we was licensed to carry, none of us could go in there armed. So he had to leave his gun in the truck. And they took the truck from us, and they told myself that I had to stay in this. I was staying in this lobby, and it was a big lobby, and it's all in white, and I just pictures everywhere. So I'm just standing in the lobby and just there, and I'm waiting for my partner to come back. And then I was there for like about 15-20 minutes. Then my partner came for me, and it was like, all right, we good to go. So we jumped back in the truck, and then I was like, yo, what they was doing in there? They was like, nah, this is where we get the money at. I was like, what do you mean get the money? Like, this is where they print and distribute all the money that goes to all the banks. And I was like, all right, cool. That's, it just went out my ear and out the other, because, like, I'm not really concerned with that. And it's not until years later I found out that the Federal Reserve have nothing to do with the government. And I was like, that's kind of odd, because how is this place on U.S. soil, but is not considered, a U.S. entity, right? The Federal Reserve, where they print and distribute all the money, right? So then, time goes on. Then this is when I'm hearing, and then, a few years later, I hear and I find out the information that the Federal Reserve loans the money to the United States of America. And then it kind of boggled me. I'm like, how is that possible? Isn't the United States supposed to have their own money, and this is a country ran off their money? So why do they need to accept money or require a loan from the Federal Reserve, which is not part of the government? Now, fast forward to this day and age, it all makes sense, right? What was instituted back in the 1800s is making sense to me now. Where the Rothschild family, they wanted to control, the printing and the distribution of all the money of every country. So whatever country there's a central bank there, that country does not own itself. It's in debt to the Federal Reserve or the Rothschild family. Okay? That's just a little quick history. These men own these countries. Right? So now, what does it have to do with anything? Right? Let's get some more history here. So we see that the Rothschilds are now in control of all the countries right now. But we're going to pinpoint some that are not part of their control, and you're going to understand why you always hear them in media. Right? So now, the first president to stand up against this so-called conglomerate of rulers, right? The Rothschild family, is this man right here, President Andrew Jackson, right? He says, this is one of his quotes. He says, You are a den of vipers. Okay? I intend to rout you out. And by the eternal God, I will rout you out. If the people only understood the rank injustice of our money and banking system, there would be a revolution by morning. This is what President Andrew Jackson was saying about this central banking system that was ruled and controlled by who he called a den of thieves, the Rothschild family, because they was putting each country in debt, right? And now it makes sense, because I was taught in school that there was 2 attempts on Andrew Jackson's life, right, of assassination. Why? Because he wasn't with the central banking system at that time, right? Now this is going to bring us to a history lesson of the War of 1812, right? What was the War of 1812? When we was taught that Great Britain came into U.S. soil and there was a fight going on between Great Britain and the U.S. armies. Now we're going to understand what this is about. Who sent Great Britain? You got it. The Rothschilds sent Great Britain. Why? To fight against the United States, because at that time the United States was not trying to have that central banking system within their system, right? They was fighting against this world domination against the Rothschilds, right? But we're gonna find out what went wrong, right? So we see there was one president who started to identify this evil that was overcoming the world, right? Andrew Jackson. So then after Andrew Jackson died and went off, his quote that he wanted to be remembered for was what? That I killed the banks. But he didn't really do anything, because why? This is systematic. They had power over some of the key countries at that time, mainly Great Britain, right? So now you understand what was going on. Why was the War of 1812 even? Why did it exist? That was the backstory on it, right? So now in comes Abraham Lincoln, right? He was famous for what? Freeing the slaves, and this is the history of Abraham Lincoln that they don't want you to know. Right? Abraham Lincoln's quote, one of his quotes was what? I have 2 great enemies. The Southern Army, the Confederates, in front of me, and the bankers in the rear. Of the 2, the one at my rear is my greatest foe. So Abraham Lincoln's greatest fight was not against the South, was against the private bankers, okay? The central banks, the Rothschild family, and this is what really got him killed, right? On the bottom of your screen, you see different type of dollar bills, right? These are called greenbacks. This is what Abraham Lincoln started to print outside of what of the Rothschild family or the central banks was trying to institute, because he opposed, okay, just like Andrew Jackson, right? Abraham Lincoln opposed the thought of another country or another entity, financing them, because he was aware that they were in debt to these men when they should be able to run their own country, run their own government, right? So Abraham Lincoln started to print what's called greenbacks, right? You see, on it is printed United States, $10, and they had the $1 bill. He started printing these, right? And the Rothschilds couldn't have that. Why? Excuse me, wrong picture. And the Rothschilds couldn't have that because that was interrupting their quest for world domination under Satan, right? So after Abraham Lincoln came, after his assassination, but let me put this up. Now you're gonna understand why he was shot down and killed. President Lincoln shot. So we got a recurring theme here. Every time you go against the feds, you end up shot or killed, or you're be deemed the boogeyman on media. We're gonna get into that too. So he says here, what? President Lincoln shot. Desperate assassin escapes during confession. Right? It says, the article, I'm going to read it real quick. It says, President Abraham Lincoln was shot tonight while attending a performance of The American Cousin at Ford's Theater in Washington. The assassin entered the box where Mr. Lincoln was sitting, shooting him, right, through the back of his head. So Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, not because he wanted to free the slaves. All right? It's something you got to understand, because you got to understand, whatever they tell you it is it. And whatever you think it is. All right? So President Lincoln wasn't assassinated because he tried to free the slave and he was warring against the South. He was killed because he started to print his own money. And his greatest foes was what? The bankers. So they had to get him out of there. Right? Now after him, see, Abraham Lincoln tried and couldn't do it. In come Woodrow Wilson. President Woodrow Wilson, right? He was the one who sold out to the central banks, because you had to imagine. You had to imagine that, they approached him like, you see what we did to the other presidents, man. It's either you fall in line or you're going to lay down. But that's another thing too. If you're not with the program, you're out of here. So here's what President Woodrow Wilson said at the end of his term. Right? He said this: I am a most unhappy man. I have unwittingly ruined my country. Right? A great industrial nation is now controlled by its system of credits, i.e. the banks, loans and checks and balances. He said, we are no longer a government by free opinion, no longer a government by conviction and the vote of the majority. See that? So now President Woodrow Wilson is telling you your vote does not matter. It's all a sham when they tell you to come out and vote. Right? He said the vote, he said the no longer a government by conviction and the vote of the majority, but a government by the opinion and the rest of a small group of dominant men. What small group of dominant men, you may ask? Huh? What small group of dominant men? These are the men that rule your governments throughout the four corners of the earth. These are the men that are speaking with Satan face to face. Don't believe me? Look at let's read this testimonial. John Todd, right, a known occultist. Listen to one of his statements. He says, "The Rothschild family is the head of the organization in which I entered in Colorado." See, he was invited to one of these gatherings. He was one of the high occultists at that time, right? He says, all the occult brotherhoods are part of it. It is a Lucifer organization to install his reign in the whole earth. Remember, we read to you, the earth has been given to the hand of the wicked. Lucifer is driven to rule this world, right? He said a Lucifer organization to install his reign in the whole world. See, these people know that he rules this world. Supposedly, the Rothschilds have personal dealings with the devil. That means these men get their orders directly from Satan himself. I have personally been in his villa and have experienced it, and I know it is true. This is a quote from a known occultist, John Todd, exposing the Rothschild family. So why aren't we learning about these people? Right? The mysteries of iniquities do it exist. Right? So we had Andrew Jackson that fought against them. He couldn't do it. Right? Failed attempt. Abraham Lincoln, he thought he was getting somewhere. Assassinated. Right? Mm-hmm. Then the next president after that, Woodrow Wilson. He gave in, He liked the perks, but then he realized what he'd done at the end. Right? We're not a democracy. We're not. This is not for the people and by the people. This is for the Rothschilds and the families that rule under the Rothschilds. Okay. Then after Wilson came in, we have another great man who came in who tried but still couldn't do it. JFK, John F. Kennedy. Okay, he was another man who tried to stop this family from ruling, but little did any of them know. Well, they do know. There's nothing you could do because the person who's giving them their power is the ruler of this world anyway. So there's nothing that no one can do. Okay. So John F. Kennedy said this: "One day after I am long gone, you'll remember me and say, we should have stopped the nuclear program of Israel, abolished the Federal Reserve, and kicked all secret societies, occultists, usurpers, and Zionists out of our wonderful country. To keep it that way, but it's never too late. Just remember that." And we know what happened to John F. Kennedy. JFK killed. See that? If you're not with their system or their program of world domination, they either take you out of the way or they make you the villain. So with this, they took him out of the way immediately, because with what JFK was trying to do, some of you might not know this. All right, some of you might not know this. What JFK was trying to do, he signed into act, right? Executive Order 11110, right? That executive order was put in place to try to do the same thing that Abraham Lincoln was trying to do. Remember the greenbacks? JFK was trying to stop receiving financial assistance from the Federal Reserve and have the United States be independent. The Rothschilds couldn't have that. The Rothschilds could not have that. Okay? Remember the key quote: "Let me issue and control the nation's money, and I care not who writes the laws." Right? So the Rothschilds couldn't have that. And in come the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Okay? I want to show you this image too. Who you know, if these men are not in power, who you know can go into a vault of gold and just sit there like, yeah, I got it. Look at them. If this is not blatantly showing you that these people are in control of the money, like they have all the gold, but yet they want to give us paper dollars. That's real money. They control the gold and instituted a false system of loans and credits that keeps the world in debt with what? Interest. Okay? These men run the world. That's that 1% that's on top of the pyramid. Right? These are the men that run the world. Okay? Abraham Lincoln, killed. JFK, killed. Right? Now it brings us into modern day. Right? These men on your screen, I'm going to talk about them briefly. Osama bin Laden, Umar Gaddafi, and your man, Saddam Hussein. Right? I'm going to come back to this. Just keep that image in your mind though. Right? But, you see, so after JFK's failed attempt, right? The whole world has been already acclimated to this financial system. This conglomerate of banks ruled by a certain group of families or a group of men, right? That has indebted and enslaved the whole world, right? Up until the time of 9/11, 2001, right? There was only 7 countries right? Before 2000, I should say before 2001, 9/11, there was 7 countries who was not a part of this system. And I'm gonna read the names of these countries, and you're gonna see we seen them on the news from the time of 9/11 until now. So up until 2001, the countries that was not a part of that one world government and financial system under the Rothschild family was Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, Sudan, Cuba, Libya, and North Korea. Is anything ringing a bell with you right now? Something should ring a bell. Those out of those countries that I have, ran down, those are the countries that were not a part of that federal bank system. And up until 2001, we've been seeing these countries on the news as what? Terrorists. See? Look at this. 9/11 brought in the ramping up of these banks. Because why? Those 7 banks up until the time of 2001 was not a part of that federal banking system. So now you understand what 9/11 was about. So these men came up with a plot. This family under Satan came up with a plot to try to acclimate all of these countries into this federal banking system. So they went in and did 9/11, and the first country they went after on the list was who? Afghanistan. And they went after Osama bin Laden. Right? That was one. Claiming that these people were terrorists. But mind you, they were one country of the list that was not a part of that federal banking system. Then after Afghanistan, where did they go? Iraq. Right? And they got Saddam Hussein out of there. Right? And then later on, under Bush's administration and going into Obama's administration, they went into Libya and got Muammar Gaddafi out of there, who was trying to do the same thing, setting up a system for his people, of going back to the goal and rejecting the US dollar. See that? Not using the Federal Reserve note. Now you see why these countries was a part of the news as of late. Right? So after 2011, the only countries that has not been acclimated to the system, right, was Cuba. And we recently see that now they're starting to allow travel into Cuba now. Because who's out of there? They got Fidel Castro out of there because he was the stronghold. He was not having the Federal Reserve in there. Now you starting to see them slowly integrating with Cuba now. So now Cuba was left. Iran. Now you know why. Now you're gonna see why in the news they say we gotta stop Iran from obtaining nuclear power. Why? Because the Rothschild family cannot send the U.S. in there to fight them. Because before, in the old time, in the 17th century, 18th century, the Rothschild family was sending in Great Britain. Now there's a new superpower, America. Since America got integrated, now they send America to fight their wars. It's starting to make sense to you, right? Now you see America speaking about we cannot let Iran acquire nuclear powers, right? And North Korea. North Korea is another country who has not bought into that system. Now, what's the new talks? Kim Jong-un, right? Reigning in the stead of his fathers. Now you see that they're pointing a gun at this man. And isn't it funny that all of the countries that the United States went to war with, they were not a part of that banking system? So we got North Korea there, and we see the Ayatollah of Iran there on your top left hand corner. These two countries are the two countries that the United States cannot integrate into their Luciferian world. Right? So now this is the new talks. We see President Trump, yeah, President Trump, you know, on the news now, wanting to do war with North Korea, right? Claiming that they're aiming missiles at Guam, a U.S. territory, a U.S. Occupied territory, a small country called Guam, and I'm starting to believe that those people in Guam are Israelites. Some of the people in Guam, but that's neither here nor there. But you got the U.S. that's occupying the country of Guam, and now all of a sudden North Korea is testing missiles in that direction, right? And remember, I told you, whatever they tell you it is ain't. You know, why would they out of nowhere just want to test missiles for no reason towards U.S. territory? Why is the U.S. trying to do war with them? Who are they getting the objective from? The same people that they've got the objective from to go in to take them out, take the leaders out, and get them acclimated into this this one world order, right? So now, after this brief history lesson, what does it have to do with us? What does all this information have to do with the Most High's chosen people and the world, right? Let's get into it. You're gonna come to find out that these men, okay. I keep going to the forefather. That these men on your screen, the Rothschild family, along with this family too. Let me throw this picture up in there. David Rockefeller, but he's dead now. You know, I was hoping the Most High kept him alive. You know, so Christ could personally deal with him. But he's passed away. But the Rockefeller family, Jewish as well too, in league with the Rothschild family, right? What do they have to do with us, right? What do these families that's ruling the world under Satan have to do with us, Jacob, right? You're gonna come to find out that they are implementing or ushering, and that video that I played in the beginning with President Bush, another Jewish convert, you know, Ashkenazi Jew, was ushering in what's called their New World Order, right? In this New World Order, let me pull up this picture. I have a lot of images for you guys tonight. Sorry. Yeah, well, they're part of this too. In this New World Order, you have the implementation of the RFID chip, what's called as the mark of the beast, right? Let's go to the scriptures. Let's go to the book of Revelations. Okay? I hope you guys are here with me, right? Revelations 13 and 11. Now you're going to understand the importance of what these men or this family is actually here to institute under Satan. Right? Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Revelations 13 and 11.
Go ahead.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him.
He exercises all the power of the first beast before him. Go ahead.
And causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed.
Mm-hmm. And this is talking about America here. Go ahead.
Verse 13.
Under Rome.
And he doeth great wonders.
And he doeth great wonders. How is America doing great wonders? Go ahead.
So that he maketh fire come down from heaven.
It's talking about their nuclear capability, their missiles, right? Their military might. That's the wonders that John was seeing on the Isle of Patmos. He didn't know what this was, right? Go ahead.
So that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth,
on the earth,
sight of men.
On the sight of men, right? Burning up these whole nations with their military might. Now you see why they're trying to stop certain countries from acquiring nuclear capabilities. And mainly the countries that they have beef with. That's not under that federal banking system. See? Go ahead.
Verse 14. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast.
He have power to do on the sight of the beast.
Saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast.
They shall make an image to the beast. Go ahead.
Which had the wound by a sword and did live.
Go ahead.
And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. That the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
You see that? Go ahead. This is the time where we're going into. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand.
To receive a what?
To receive a mark in their right hand.
To receive a mark in their right hand.
Or
both bond, free, and great. Everybody. Right? Go ahead.
Or in their foreheads.
Or in their foreheads. Go ahead.
Verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell.
That no man but what?
That no man might buy or sell.
That's the implementation of your RFID chip. Right? That no man should be able to buy or sell. Go ahead.
Save he that had the mark.
Save he that had the mark.
Or the name of the beast.
Or the name of the beast.
Or the number of his name.
Or the number of his name. Go ahead.
Verse 18. Here is wisdom.
Here is wisdom.
Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. For it is the number of a man.
Is the number of a man.
And his number is 666.
666. 666. Your mark of the beast. So how are these men going to implement this throughout the four corners of the earth? You wonder how. They control all the money. They control all the money already. Right? They could easily tell each country, you know what, we're not supplying no more money no more. Because it's all fake. We're not printing no more money. Now the new way you got to pay off this debt is by implementing your citizen and yourself with this chip to be able to pay me back. Because you got to remember, these countries are no longer in control of themselves anymore. They are in debt to the Rothschild family. So they are being used by Satan to implement this mark of the beast chip. This family. Okay? Go ahead.
Oh, that was it on 18.
That was it on it, right?
Yeah.
So we see the implementation of the mark of the beast. Right? Starting with the financial system. See, you see how Satan used them to bring this to where we at today? And now, there's talks about, this country, the state of Wisconsin, or this company in Wisconsin, has already started chipping their employees for free. They say it costs about $300 to chip an individual, but they're like, you know what, we'll take the bill because we want y'all integrated into Satan's kingdom, right? So this family is being used to implement Satan's will on this earth. That's how they have this power on the earth. We understand that because Christ was offered that same position, but he denied it, right? When we read that in the book of Matthew, right? Where Satan actually came to him and offered Christ that position that the Rothschilds now hold, right? They own all the banks, okay? They own all these countries because why? All these countries are indebted to their banks, right? Now you see countries like Russia trying to pull away from the Federal Reserve. They paid off their debt. Now they're trying to start off their own monetary system. And this is why you see on the news, if you pay attention, Russia is sending aid to North Korea and Iran. You see that? Because according to Bible prophecy, all these countries will come together against the whore and burn it. Right? Matter of fact, let's read some of that. Let's go to Jeremiah, the 51st chapter. Right? This is what they have to do with us. This is Jacob's trouble. These men have been operating behind the doors while we've been asleep. You see? While the Christian church, right? While the Christians is waiting for this, okay, left behind, right? We gonna be preparing for this. All right? Nuclear destruction, fire and brimstone. Right? So now let's read according to the scriptures what's going to happen to this place for selling out to Satan. And we already read what's going to happen to the Rothschild family. Like that has nothing to do with us. Right? And believe it or not, they're not even worried about us. We don't got enough money to pay them back. They're not worried about us, so we can talk about them all they want. But the one who's going to come and destroy them, that's the one they fear. Christ. Right? Jeremiah 51. Let's start there. Let's take it at verse 1.
It's coming back and going Rambo. Jeremiah 51 and 1. Thus saith the Most High.
Thus saith the Most High. Go ahead.
Behold, I will raise up against Babylon, and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me. A destroying wind.
The Most High will rise up against Babylon and all those that rise up against him. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 2. And will send unto Babylon fanners.
See? He will send unto Babylon fanners. Go ahead.
That shall fan her.
That shall fan her and what?
And shall empty her land.
And shall empty her land. And now what is a fanner? Right? You ever seen in ancient times when they're trying to keep the fire going and you see somebody pressing this balloon type thing and it's blowing air into the fire? The Most High is gonna send these nations to continue to fan this place with missiles, with fire. Go ahead.
For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about.
You see, in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Right? These countries are gonna be tired, right, of submitting to the will of this one family. They're saying to themselves, we're greater, we have way more people than you have. How are you guys are controlling us? And who gives you the right to put sanction on us? That's what these countries be saying in their meetings. That's what they say. Right? And one thing I can always remember about Saddam Hussein before he died, when he was going to court for his so-called crimes against humanity. I remember I seen a footage of him in court amongst his people, and he's talking to his people, like his government. He's like, look, you guys know me. This is what he was saying. If I could find that video, I wish I could play it for you guys. He said, you guys know me, and you guys are accusing me of things that you know I haven't done. And he said, and he's pleading with them before they put him to death. Look at me, guys. Like, you guys know me. Am I the enemy? This is what he was saying to his own people. Basically an outcry to say, like, yo, y'all know what the deal is. Y'all know who's against us. Y'all know who's doing what. You see? If you're not with the Rothschild family, they taking y'all out. That's the narrative of what's going on in these wars. Right? Every time you see a rumor of war, put the word Rothschild in it. The Rothschilds are sending this country here to do this. That's what it is. They own everything under Satan. But go ahead.
Verse 3. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow.
Go ahead.
And against him that lifteth himself up in his brigadine, and spare ye not her young men.
Go ahead.
Destroy ye utterly all her hosts. Verse 4. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans.
Go ahead.
And they that are thrust through in her streets. Verse 5. For Israel have not been forsaken.
For what?
For Israel have not been forsaken.
So the Most High's chosen people have not been forsaken, even though we dwell in the midst of Babylon. Right? Go ahead.
Nor Judah of his God.
Nor Judah either. Go ahead.
Of the Lord of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel.
You see that? Though our land was filled with sin, now you understand why we got kicked out of the land. And here comes the Balfour Declaration for them to take our land. That was only possible because we sinned. Okay? If we didn't sin, couldn't do anything. We would have looked at that letter and laughed. and went to war and won. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 6. Flee out of the midst of Babylon.
The Most High is commanding his people to do what?
Flee out of the midst of Babylon.
To flee out of the midst of Babylon. You'll run into some brothers and sisters that will tell you that's talking about you gotta flee mentally, brother. You gotta be out. You gotta be mentally free from the system of Babylon. Okay, that's a start. But let's hear what else the Most High said though.
And deliver every man his soul.
And what?
And deliver every man his soul.
And deliver every man his soul. Why?
Be not cut off in her iniquity.
Be what?
Be not cut off in her iniquity.
Be not cut off in her iniquity. Why? Because the Most High will send fanners to fan her. You could come out of her. You could come out of her mentally, but you still living in her. You're gonna get caught up with the fanners. Go ahead.
For this is the time of the Lord's vengeance.
This is the time of the Lord's vengeance. So the Most High will take vengeance on this place, on the behalf of Satan. See that? And the thing is, Satan is only using this place for control at this time, because once this place is done, all power will go back to Rome or to Europe until Christ return and destroy Edom when he goes through Basra, or the heads of Edom. You read that in Isaiah 63, okay, or 53, I believe. Go ahead.
He will render unto her a recompense.
See, the Most High will render unto Babylon a recompense. Why? Go ahead.
Verse 7. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand.
You see that? The Most High have never touched this place yet. He destroyed the Egyptians for our cause. He destroyed ancient Babylon. He destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay? He partly destroyed ancient Rome for our cause. But America has never been touched yet. This is future prophecy. For Babylon has been a golden cup in his hands. Go ahead.
That made all the earth drunken.
That made all the earth drunken. Why? How? Through its military might. Is either you gonna listen to what we're saying, or we going to war? And yeah, we have more men than you. But little do they know, North Korea got a 3 million man army. Right? Go ahead.
The nations have drunken of her wine.
The nations have drunken of her wine. All of the nations that have succumbed to its banking system. Go ahead.
Therefore the nations are mad.
Therefore the nations are mad. You could only be crazy to take a loan from these people and be indebted for them for years and years and years and years and years. And in order to get out of debt, you take another bailout from them again. Another loan on top of that. So not only do you got to pay the first loan, you got to pay the second loan. So this family develop a system to keep these countries in debt forever. Like it's really crazy. Right? But go ahead.
Verse 8.
And not to control. And when they try to come out of it, making their own money, they get you out of the way. Meaning the only way you could get out of this is through death. And you still is stuck in it. But go ahead.
Verse 8. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her.
Howl for her.
Take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed.
Go ahead.
Verse 9. We would have healed Babylon.
See, the Most High said, yo, we could have healed it. Because you see, in the beginning, right? The presidents that was set up, even though they wasn't set up, under the Most High, they wasn't with this elaborate plot that the Rothschilds had. The United States had some presidents that tried to fight against Satan and his oppositions. Right? It could have got healed. But go ahead.
But she is not healed.
But she is not healed. Why? Because there's some that still fell for the traps and made deals with it. You see that? Go ahead.
Forsake her.
Forsake her and what?
And let us go everyone into his own country.
And let us all go everyone into our own countries. And you're starting to see that now. Right? They're outsourcing a lot of the corporations, the jobs, knowing that something is about to happen here. Those who are in the know. Right? Like I said, a lot of people, not just the Christians, a lot of people is not ready for what's going to come here. You running around standing in line trying to get a pair of Jordans or trying to buy a new car and worrying about who's who and what's what. And you have no clue that sudden destruction is coming upon you. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 9 at the end. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven.
For her judgment has reached unto heaven. So the Most High has plans to deal with this place.
And is lifted up even to the skies.
And is lifted up even to the skies. So the Most High had enough of its terror. They're calling everybody the terrorists except for themselves. Here it is. They develop a plot to kill their own very people. 9/11. Just to implement this plan that they got going on with the chip. They don't care who they destroy. They don't care. It's about power and submission and world domination. They could care less who it is. If you're in the way, you're just a roadblock. And they're going to find a way to get you out the way. This is why the world needs a savior. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 10. The Most High hath brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord,
See?
our power.
So we got to declare amongst our people the works of the Most High. What he's getting ready to do to this nation and to the nations round about. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 11.
Yeah.
Make bright the arrows.
Make bright the arrows.
Gather the shields.
Uh-huh.
The Most High hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes.
The kings of the spirit, he have done what?
Raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes.
He has raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes. The Iranians. Your modern day Medes and Persians. Along with North Korea. They're all Japheth. They're all Asians. Iran is part of the seed of Japheth. They're Asians. They stick together. China even supports North Korea. Okay, they're all Asian. So the Most High is stirring up the Medes. Go ahead.
For his device is against Babylon.
His device is against Babylon. His nuclear weapons is against Babylon. Go ahead.
To destroy it.
To what?
To destroy it.
To destroy it. Okay? And where ancient Babylon, and for those skeptics out there who don't believe that this is Babylon, where ancient Babylon is on this earth today is where modern day Iraq is. And the prophecy concerning Babylon or future Babylon is that no man will be able to dwell there after the Most High run through it. People still live in Iraq to this day. That can't be the Babylon that we're reading about in these scriptures. Right? Go ahead. Verse
11. For his in the middle, for his devices against Babylon to destroy it. Because it is the vengeance of the Most High. The vengeance of his temple.
See, it's the vengeance of the Most High and the vengeance of his temple, his people. The Most High will take vengeance for what's been going on this earth or on this soil for his people. You seen what happened here with the Native American Indians? Seen what happened here with our brothers and sisters off them slave ships? You see what's happening currently right now to our brothers and sisters every day? You don't think the Most High see that? You don't think the Most High got something ready for this place? To free us from this place? The only way he can free us is by destroying it. Go ahead.
Verse 12.
Yeah.
Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambushes. For the Most High hath both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon.
Go ahead.
13. O thou that dwellest upon many waters.
O thou that dwellest upon many waters. Now we know this is talking about America. Because why? This country has bases set up throughout the four corners of the earth. And like I spoke about earlier, one of the occupied space that's being targeted by North Korea is Guam. This is the place that is upon the many waters. Everywhere you go, there's a U.S. embassy. That means it's under the control of the United States or Babylon. See, the Bible is 100% pure and clear. Right? Go ahead.
Abundant in treasures.
Abundant in treasures.
Thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness.
Thy end has come, and the measure of your covetousness. You always want world domination, overtaking so much countries that you don't even have no more space for them now. You overtaking the people, the natural born people that lives there. Their covetousness, world domination under Satan. It's greed. It's all it is greed. Right? Go ahead.
14. The Lord of hosts has sworn by himself.
You see that? He have sworn by himself, meaning he can't go back on this. See that?
Saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars.
He says, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars. So there will be foreign boots on the ground. There will be foreign troops that will be coming here to fight. Go ahead.
And they shall lift up a shout against thee. 15. He hath made the earth by his power. He hath established the world by his wisdom. And hath stretched out the heaven by his understanding. When he uttereth his voice, there is a multitude of waters in the heavens. And he causeth the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He maketh lightnings with rain, and bringeth forth the wind out of his treasures.
So you see that the Most High is all powerful and all knowing. So this will come to pass, right? So as we read in Jeremiah 30 earlier today, should we fear? The Most High said, no, fear not these things that's going to happen on this earth, because we will be saved out of it, right? Go to the book of Isaiah. Almost done. We're going to wrap it up real soon. I'm going to get these scriptures out. Isaiah 61. Here's the end game, right? Isaiah 61:1. Go ahead.
Isaiah 61:1. The Spirit of the Most High power is upon me, because the Most High hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek.
Unto the meek, go ahead.
He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound.
And we understand that this is Christ that has the power to do this. Right? Christ speaking here. Go ahead.
Verse 2. To proclaim the acceptable year of the Most High, and the day of vengeance of our God, to confirm all that mourn.
See, to
comfort all that mourn.
So the Most High is going to comfort all of us that mourn through all the perils and all the atrocities that's been going on under the hands of these Satanists. Right? Under the hands of these Satanists here. These child sacrificing, blood drinking Satanists here. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 3. To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning.
This is what the Most High will bring to us, right? Go ahead.
The garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Most High, that he might be glorified. And they shall build the old wastes. They shall raise up the former desolations.
See that? We shall raise up the former desolation. That's talking about when we get into our land. Go ahead.
And they shall repair the waste cities.
And then we shall repair the waste cities, because that all those cities that the Gentiles are dwelling in Israel right now will be laid waste. Okay, go ahead.
The desolations of many generations.
See, the desolation of many generations. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 5. And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks.
You see that? So the Most High will have the strangers feeding our flocks, taking care of us. Right? Go ahead.
And the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers.
So the nations will be our servants. Go ahead.
Verse 6. But ye shall be named the priests of the Most High. Men shall call you the ministers of our God. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory shall ye boast yourselves.
You see that? So all this is being done for the redemption of the Most High's people, to free us. Right? So we have to go through Jacob's trouble to receive this freedom here. Continue reading. There's some more good
Verse
stuff.
7. For your shame ye shall have double.
For our shame, the Most High will give us double. You see that? Only thing they could teach us that we were slaves, that we was hung on trees, and they replay it over and over. Just to constantly remind us, like, yeah, this is where you came from. Yeah, this is all you are. Lynched, robbed, murdered, raped, right? They embarrass us on the news all the time. Like you would think that there's no other nations that do evil but our people. The way they portray our people on the news. Right? The way they publicize how cops shoot down and kill our people. That's shame right there. So the Most High said, for our shame we will receive double. Go ahead.
And for confusion, they shall rejoice in their portion.
See, and for our confusion, we shall rejoice in our portion. Right? Being confused, not knowing who we were for a long time. Right? Go ahead.
Therefore, in their land, they shall possess the double.
Therefore, where?
In their land.
In their land, meaning we will have to go get our land back to receive any of these things. So now, you like I always say, you tell me who's in Israel right now. Right? Go ahead.
Everlasting joy shall be unto them.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 8. For I the Most High love judgment. I hate robbery for burnt offering. And I will direct their work in truth. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them.
And that's talking about with us, not the people you see in Palestine today. Right? They acquired that land through thievery. Okay? Go ahead.
Verse 9. And their seed shall be known among the Gentiles.
See that? Go ahead.
And their offspring among the people. All that see them shall acknowledge them. That they are the seed which the Most High hath blessed.
You see that? And you see that's why I don't go hard to try to tell people, yeah, I'm an Israelite, or try to tell the nations, like, you know I'm the chosen seed. I don't have to tell them that. I don't have to do that. The Most High is confirming the word right here. We don't have to go around flaunting and wearing shirts. I'm an Israelite. I'm a Hebrew. I'm this. I'm that. The world is never going to acknowledge us as anything. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, why try to demean other people, right? The other nations, because they don't know who we are. The Most High swore and is making a promise here that the nations will know eventually. And it's not going to be by our doing. So it's not by our might. Only it's by the Most High's might. The nations will acknowledge that we are the chosen seed. I don't have to make somebody feel less than I am, because I know that I'm the chosen seed. Go ahead.
Verse 10. I will greatly rejoice in the Most High. My soul shall be joyful in my power.
See, then we will greatly rejoice in the Most High, because He will reveal it. He will make them submit to us. He will make them to come at our feet and realize that we were the chosen this whole time. We don't have to do nothing. Our power is not greater than the Most High's power. He's gonna do it. Go ahead.
For He hath clothed me with the garments of salvation. He hath covered me with the robe of righteousness.
Go ahead.
As a bridegroom decketh himself with ornaments, and as a bride adorneth herself with her jewels.
Go ahead.
Verse 11. For as the earth bringeth forth her bud, and as the garden causeth the things that are sown in it to spring forth, so the Most High will cause righteousness and praise to spring forth before all the nations.
So you see that? So everything is being planted now. The Most High is starting to reveal that righteousness on the earth with us, bringing back the understanding that we are the children of Israel and teaching and upholding righteousness amongst our respective communities. That's how it's being done. The grand show is going to be when the Most High reveal it. So we don't have to try to make everybody keep the laws. We got to start within ourselves. The Most High is sowing that in us for us to understand, to show the world. That's how it's going to be done. Go to the next chapter. 62.
And one?
Yeah.
For chapter 62 in the book of Isaiah.
So you could tell Isaiah just kept speaking about the same topic. Go ahead.
Verse 1, chapter 62.
Yeah.
For Zion's sake will I not hold my peace.
For whose sake?
For Zion's sake.
No, for the world. For God so loved the world.
For Zion's sake.
For all the nations.
For Zion's sake.
For Zion's sake.
will I not hold my peace.
Will I not hold my peace? So the Most High is only avenging the world because of Zion's sake. Not that John 3:16, that the misrepresentation of that scripture that they don't even understand. Why would the Most High send his only begotten son for a world that's condemned? For Israel's sake will the Most High avenge his people. Right? Go ahead. Will he not hold his peace? Excuse me.
And for Jerusalem's sake, I will not rest.
And for Jerusalem's sake, the Most High will not rest. Yeah, he's watching right now as we speak the imposters in our land right now. They have the biggest pride parade in our land. You guys understand that? You don't think the Most High see that filth? You don't think the Most High see that abomination? So the Most High, everything that he's just writing it all down. Gabriel, write that down. On this day, these people did this. And he's gonna just, when he's ready, he's gonna just repay everything when it's time. And then send Christ to finish it off. That's how he's doing it. But go ahead.
And for Jerusalem's sake, I will not rest. Until the righteousness thereof go forth as brightness.
Until the righteousness goes forth as brightness. So the Most High won't rest until this earth is filled with righteousness. It's going to happen. As much as Satan and his top prophets are trying to stop it and bring in their new world order, that's not going to work. It will never prevail. Because we have the end game here. And the thing is, they know the end game, but They saying to themselves, we got this far. We might as well keep going. You know what I'm saying? We got this far. Why not keep going? Right? But go ahead.
And the salvation thereof as a lamp that burneth. Verse 2. And the Gentiles shall see thy righteousness.
And the Gentiles shall see our righteousness.
And all kings thy glory.
And all the kings of the earth will see our glory. Go ahead.
And thou shalt be called by a new name. With the mouth of the Lord shalt name.
So the Most High is going to give us a new name. No more we're going to be called Yasharallah. The Most High is going to give us a new name amongst the Gentiles. Go ahead.
Verse 3. Thou shalt also be a crown of glory in the hand of the Most High.
Most High's prized possessions. Go ahead.
And a royal diadem in the hand of thy power or God.
Go ahead.
Verse 4. Thou shalt no more be termed forsaken.
See, we shall no more be called the people that's forsaken. The worthless people. It's just black people. They're Negroes, niggas, and spicks. And right? Go ahead.
Neither shall thy land any more be termed desolate. But thou shalt be called
Hebzabah. Which means my delight in Hebrew. Go ahead.
And thy land Beulah.
See? Beulah, which means master, which means the bride, or the beautiful bride of the Most High. This is the Most High's land. This is the land that he loves. So he married it back. You see that? Go ahead.
For the Most High delighteth in thee.
See? The Most High delighteth in thee.
And thy land shall be married.
See that? And thy land shall be married. See? Most High bringing back the captivity of Jacob and marrying us back to the land that we lost. That's prophecy. That's what's going to happen. Not what you see going on right now under the Rothschild and with the Israeli flag. That has nothing to do with nothing. There's no scripture and there's no prophecy that says that Israel in the last days will be a state. Okay? We will be called Hebzabah and Beulah. We don't hear that going on over there. But go ahead.
Verse 5. For as a young man marrieth a virgin.
See, for as a young man marrieth a virgin,
so shall thy sons marry thee. And as the bridegroom rejoiceth over the bride, so shall thy power or God rejoice over thee.
So the Most High will rejoice over each and every last one of us that come back to him. Every time one of us wake up to this truth and start following him in righteousness, there's a party in the heavens. The Most High rejoiceth after us. Because why? We are the people that he loved. So now just imagine it. If you had a child that you loved, that you love, and then when there was a child, they were taken from you, and you haven't seen them for years, and then they're brought back to you, fully matured. That love is gonna come right back. That's what the Most High is. That's what the Most High is saying here. That's all he is. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 6. I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day or night. Yet ye that make mention of the Most High, keep not silent.
The Most High is talking about those who's preaching the gospel to the tribes, to the people. The Most High set over the house of Israel watchers who will help to bring back the people. That's why he's saying, don't keep not the silence. Always talk about the Most High and bring back the people. See? The Most High prophesied about this time that we're living in right now. It's not by coincidence we have brothers and sisters standing up throughout the four corners of the earth, teaching the right doctrines and teaching who the people are, because it's prophecy that we had to come back. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And give him no rest till he establish, until he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth. Verse 8. The Most High hath sworn by his right hand.
See? The Most High have sworn by his right hand. What?
And by the arm of his strength. Surely I will no more give thy corn to be meat for thine enemies.
You see that? They will no longer be able to eat off of the fruit of our land. Because there's one thing y'all got to understand about that land over there. It produces the best quality of everything. That's why they fighting. That's why they fighting over it. That's why they wanted it so much. They wanted it so badly. That's why they wrote that letter to Lord Rothschild that we read in the beginning. Because that what is the Most High blessed that land, even in its destitute state. That land is still blessed above all lands on this earth. So whatever it produces the best quality of it. You got to understand that. Go ahead.
And the sons of the stranger shall not drink thy wine.
And I can imagine the taste of the wine over there. Probably one sip and you got to go take a nap somewhere. That's how potent probably the wine is. But go ahead.
For the which thou hast labored. Verse 9. But they that have gathered it shall eat it and praise the Most High.
And we will. Trust me, we will. Go ahead.
And they that have brought it together shall drink it in the courts of my holiness. Verse 10. Go through the gates. Prepare ye the way of the people. Cast up the highway. Gather out the stones. Lift up a standard for the people.
Go ahead.
Behold, the Most High hath proclaimed unto the end of the world. The
Most High have proclaimed this throughout the ends of the world. And trust me, Satan's prophets and his agents, they know about this. This is why they work tirelessly to destroy the seed of Jacob off the face of the earth. Go ahead.
Say ye to the daughter of Zion, behold, thy salvation cometh.
Behold, our salvation is coming. Go ahead.
Behold, his reward is with him.
Behold, his reward is with him. This is the patience of the saints. Go ahead.
And his work before him. Verse 12. And they shall call them the holy people.
They shall call us the holy people, the people set apart. The what?
The redeemed of the Most High.
We are the redeemed of the Most High. Go ahead.
And thou shalt be called, sought out, a city not forsaken.
We will be called the people that was searched after, the city not forsaken. Amen.
Amen.
Thus saith the Most High, and thus saith the Holy Bible. And so this is all praise to the Most High. And this is the reason for what's going on this earth today. You think those battles is for nothing? Here we are, 2017, men from nowhere, from the ghettos. We was able to resolve what's going on in the earth through the scriptures. Only through the Most High that could have been done. Now we understand what the struggle is about on this earth, and what these men is doing to the seed of Jacob. All praises to the Most High. All right, now we're gonna go into the comment section real quick. Yeah, go ahead. And then we're gonna wrap this up shortly. right? And go to the comments. Queen Judah, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for streaming. She says, Happy Sabbath to all. Says, may the Most High be with us tonight. Khan. Barina Griffith, right? Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters. Hope you all have a wonderful Shabbat. Yes, Shabbat Shalom to you too as well. Thank you for coming in the stream and enjoying the Shabbat with us. Queen Judah, she also says, we must not be deceived on what's going on and stay focused on the Most High. Khan. Thank the Most High for these scriptures for us to be able to resolve what's going on in these last days, right? Levi Clark also says Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Latoya Lot, Shabbat Shalom, sis. Oh, sorry, Latori. Right? She says Shabbat Shalom. There's too many doctrines amongst Israel, Khan. A couple of weeks ago, I've seen some Israelites teaching 7-day Adventist doctrine pertaining to the mark of the beast, SMH, Ephesians 4 and 14, Khan. Yeah, I mean, hey, you just gotta let them run with what they're running with. The scriptures tells us to hold fast to what we know, right? And what we've been instructed. So, you know, only thing you could do for those brothers and sisters is pray for them. If it's not written in the scriptures, then, you know, why go with it? Why run with it? Right? And it's crazy. Like earlier this week, you know, I was out. Somebody had a gathering. You know, celebrating someone's birthday. They went out to eat. I was invited, so, you know, I showed myself. And there was a brother who was there, who was an Egyptologist. And, you know, we got to talking, and he had the nerve to tell me that the Bible was written by Shakespeare. Like, I've been here, I've heard that before, but my thing is, like, where is the proof? Based on what? Yeah, based on what? Where's the proof that the Bible was written by Shakespeare? What concrete evidence? Because, like, if that's the case, Shakespeare is one smart, intelligent brother. If he wrote the Bible. Brianna also says, Happy Sabbath to everyone. Shabbat Shalom to you as well. Right? Casey Boston, Shabbat Shalom. Ak says Shabbat Shalom. He says, Shabbat Shalom, family. I just got out. He said, I just got out film/team meeting. Okay, but I'm glad I made it. He said, laugh out, you bringing it all out. He said, this is mad heat in one lesson. Yeah, Khan. All praise to the Most High for this information. Okay. I seen there was some messages that was deleted. Some hate speech. Some real hate speech.
Oh yeah, big time.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, you know, to the brother who was putting in the hate speech, you know, Kevin Smith. You understand? I mean, yo, we not here to offend anybody. If you're offended, you gotta take it up with the Most High. He's the one who created the scriptures. We're just reading. We're just mouthpieces. So, you know, shalom. I don't got anything else to say. Yeah. I mean, but that's gonna happen, you know.
Nation against nation.
For nation shall rise against nation.
Yeah.
You understand? I mean, hey,
Realm against realm.
look, if you have a problem with what we're saying, that means that that's something that you need to resolve within yourself. Right? Shaloriel, Shabbat Shalom, sis. Long time no see, right? Or hear from. Great lesson, brothers. As always, all praises to the Most High. All right, Khan. Levi also says, that was a fire song.
Oh, hold on. What he said? That was a fire song, yo. Who was that? Can you send it to me? Ha ha. All right.
Brother, you know that was your track. Yeah, that was the brother Levi's track. If Christ is coming back, what is it? When Christ come back, he's going to ramble, right?
Going ramble.
All praise to the Most High for that track. That track was timely for tonight's lesson, right? Great spirit behind that track too. Lenzel Lot, Shabbat Shalom Ak. He says, great lesson as usual. Where does the time
Go when you're teaching. Absolutely.
Yeah, he asks, where does the time go while you're teaching?
It just goes.
Oh, my bad again. He says, Latori is my younger brother. Salakia, I didn't mean to call you sister. But, yeah. I mean, the time be flying, man. You know, we could be here all night. But, you know, sometimes I gotta watch the time because, you know, we're not in our usual location. You know, we only have this for a certain amount of time. So I gotta watch the time. But, you know, the Most High allowed us to bring out as much as we can for tonight. You know, we could always go back into this lesson again. Like, there's so much we could talk about within this one topic. Like, right? Anybody else in the room before we wrap it up? No, she was first. Yeah.
I just wanted to say that was an excellent lesson. This is my favorite lesson for the summer.
All praise to the Most High.
And something came to mind with the lesson as well. When it went in Psalms 145 and 8, it says, "The Lord is gracious and full of compassion, slow to anger, and of great mercy." And then when we go into everything that's going to happen to this country, the Most High has been waiting for a long time.
Right. That's why we read it. You said, if we could have healed her, it would have been healed already.
Exactly. So then,
great scripture.
After, it reminds me of in Jonah, when the Most High told Jonah to go to that city,
Nineveh. Yeah.
And I'm just reading real quick. And Jonah began to enter into a city's day journey, and he cried and said, "Yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown." So the people of Nineveh believed God and proclaimed a fast and put on sackcloth, from the greatest of them even to the least of them. For word came unto the king of Nineveh, and he arose from his throne, and he laid his robe from him, and covered him with sackcloth, and sat in ashes. And he caused it to be proclaimed and published through Nineveh by the decree of the king and his nobles, saying, that neither man nor beast, herd nor flock taste anything, let them not feed nor drink water, but let man and beast be covered with sackcloth, and cry mightily unto God. Yeah, let everyone turn from his evil way and from the violence that is in their hands. Who can tell if God will turn and repent, and turn away his fierce anger, that we perish not? And God saw their works, that they turned from their evil way, and God repented of the evil that he had said he would do unto them, and he did it not. And how if everybody in America just hypothetically repented,
the Most High would,
mercy, and he's had mercy for a long time.
But we know that we fall past that stage.
Exactly.
Everybody's acclimated into this beast system, right?
Without a care.
All right, my question is, first, all praises to the Most High for that lesson. I feel like it's very informative, especially the history part. But I have two questions. One of the questions I had is, do the other nations know about the prophecy of them destroying America? Are they playing a part of America's destruction?
They understand their parts in prophecy, like Iran. They understand. Adminijab, before he left at our office, he used to talk about it all the time. Yeah. They know, trust me, they know they part of it, and they understand. Even Russia, being Edom, speaks out against what this place represents, America, the sodomy and all this, and witchcraft, and he spoke out about it. I seen a video about him speaking out about it. So these people know, they understand.
My next question is now, we know that America is the daughter of Babylon, basically meaning the daughter of Rome. We know that America is like a product of the Rothschild. The Rothschild has benefited off of America and what America has brought to the light. So I don't know if you remember, or anybody remembers, there was a scripture when it says all the rest of the horns became jealous of that little horn, America.
Right.
I want to know, why would they become jealous of the horn or the product which they created and they benefited off?
But you got to understand, it's all, like with all the nations, it's about power and domination and control. You think people want to be subservient to somebody? Nobody wants to be subservient, right? So basically, they're all jealous because at one point in time it was Great Britain. Great Britain was the world power at one point in time in history until America came. They don't the so-called royals in Britain with under the witch queen and all that. What's her name? Elizabeth and all of that. They don't like the fact that all the power and glory is in America right now. They don't like that. You know
they're benefited off of it.
I mean, yeah, but still, is we read in Obadiah, it said like, yo, everybody who did business with will turn on you. The Most High is ushering in those spirits on them. So that's how it's happening. Yeah.
I want to just read like 3 scriptures you brought out.
Real quick.
Just to meditate. Yeah, the quick ones. And it was like, I know thy works in tribulation, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Jump into 2 Thessalonians 3 and 7. For the mystery of iniquity doeth already work. Only he who know the letter will let, until he be taken out of that way. Jump into verse 9. Whose coming is after the work of Satan, with all power, signs and lying wonders. Going and showing you how the Jewish people is that Antichrist.
Yeah.
They are Amalek. They are the iniquity that's working from this time. Going from Roman Caesarea.
Yep.
And then to
That's
end
all
it-
them.
And then to end it with like our Savior. These things have I spoken, John 16 and 33. These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace, and in the world you shall have tribulation. But be of good cheer.
wanna see it.
I have
Yeah, we'll do it
overcome
after.
the world. Jump into John 10. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. So all praise to the
Gone.
Most High for what we know, learn, and what the opportunity we have each and every Shabbat.
All praise to the Most High.
I swear you be chilling.
All praise to the Most High. Got 2 sisters in the back. The first, Sonia.
Okay. Well, like Patrick, thank you for the history. I just think it's ironic that the 2 presidents, former presidents, who didn't want to participate in the Federal Reserve and the central system, that they were assassinated.
Yeah.
And it was a cover-up. Right?
It was yeah.
A conspiracy and then led it to other things.
Right.
Like with Lincoln, it was the South, the Civil
Yeah.
War and the slaves. And with Kennedy, it was the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff.
Right.
And the next thing is I want to bring up is Obadiah, that short scripture you read.
Mm-hmm.
You think that have anything to do with back in Genesis in chapter 25, verse 30?
With the sons.
Yeah, and they sell the stew and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So this
Esau and Jacob. Yeah.
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 okay.
That's all the prophecy.
With Edom and
And Jacob.
All right.
They twins.
Yeah.
But Esau's the evil twin.
Right, but Jacob was the one that had the
The promise. Right. Us.
Okay. All right. That's it.
Yeah. Definitely. Laura.
I would say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Like, great lesson, like everything. So my question was, I actually have 2 questions. When you said that we have to flee from Babylon, like, did you really mean like get up and leave?
Yes, that's physically departing from this place. But that's another understanding that we definitely will talk to you about. We'll talk to everybody about. I mean, I think we have to go through that again. We haven't spoken about that in a while. Can't get complacent. But yeah,
And my second question was, like, it's not related to this, but can Gentiles hold like positions in churches?
can Gentiles hold positions in churches? Very great question. And the answer is absolutely not. Because they have to be in subjection to the ones who was given the scriptures. We were given the scrolls. We are the authority of this book or this record. And you got to examine it through the scriptures. Any church that Paul set up, he didn't set up no Gentiles to be a part of the church. He didn't set them up as rulers or leaders. There was always apostles that was over the churches. And when there was things happening within the churches, right, outside of what the apostles knew, then Paul would be sending letters to the apostles like, yo, I'm hearing this disagreements amongst you, and I partly believe it. Like he was hearing word about what was going on, what the Gentiles was trying to do, or what the apostles was trying to implement on the Gentiles as well. So the Gentiles never held a position above the children of Israel or above the apostles or any Hebrew in the Old Testament or in the New Testament. So it shouldn't be like that now either. Because their understanding of the scripture is skewed. They don't understand it from an Israelite standpoint. They will never be able to understand like that unless they submit unto a teacher. You understand? That's basically the understanding. Shabbat shalom, sis.
I have like 2 questions. You were saying that like Satan is using like Earth until he goes back to Rome. I didn't know.
You said Satan is what?
Satan is using like Earth, or I don't know. You're saying something until he goes to Rome.
Well, he's just using America.
Oh, just America.
Yeah, but the whole world. He's actually using the whole world. But right now, this is the key piece in this time of prophecy. America is the key piece right now in the time of prophecy. But he's using the whole world. And you got to understand, like, for Satan, this is a prison for him. Like, in Isaiah, the 14th chapter, is it 14 or 12? Isaiah 14, he declares that he wants to go back up into the heavens because that's where the real paradise is. He don't want to be down here. So it's only right for him to try to destroy as much as he can down here because he hates it down here. This was created for us, not for him. It's a prison for him. So he's using this time, this opportunity to try to destroy as much as he can before for Christ come back and return.
And my next question was about Fidel Castro, when you were talking about how
they killed him. They say he died of. What do you say he died of? Natural causes.
not exactly that, but like
I think they killed him.
How like everything has opened up since
Since Castro's out of there.
Yeah, but did they just like try to cover that up with like President Obama
Going there.
Yeah, like fixing everything.
Of course. You got to understand, whatever you think it is isn't. Like, they didn't just open up they didn't just start to allow planes to start traveling there, because before you couldn't take a flight from America straight to Cuba. You had to do some backdoor scheme, go to like Canada and then go there. There's a reason, and there's a lot of fugitives, so-called, that they call fugitives, that escaped to Cuba. Right? America still wants to get them for what they've done too.
So is there like a federal reserve? Has it got to that point where it happened?
No, I'm not too sure. I didn't do the research on that yet, but I'm gonna look into that, because as of right now, the only countries without that central bank is Cuba, right? Cuba, Iran,
Afghanistan.
They done. Cuba, North Korea, which we see in the news, and Iran, who we see in the news. Those 3 countries. All the other ones they already went in there and did what they had to do. They took out Gaddafi with Obama. They took out Osama under Bush, and they took out Saddam too under Bush. So those 3 countries, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Sudan, that's out of here. They fully integrated into the system. But now you see in the news they talking about North Korea, because that's the next target. It's all prophecy.
They can touch North Korea and wipe them out.
That's gonna be the start of what they call Armageddon, what we call Armageddon. It's gonna be the start of it, right? I'm gonna wrap this up. So we'll talk more offline. I'm gonna just wrap it up for the brothers and sisters online. Once again, we want to thank you, brothers and sisters, for coming in on the Shabbat and streaming with us and learning and being a part of this work, of Christ's work. We want to thank you, from the bottom of our hearts, for supporting the channel and, spreading the word and learning and, standing for truth, right? We want to thank you also for your, for your well wishes and your donations, and keep hope alive, and, let's fight this good fight, right? Until we see Zion, right? We're going to, and pray that we all meet again next week, same time, same channel, right? What else am I missing out here? The rest of the Shabbat is here. I want you guys to be safe. Try to be productive with your families. Try to stay safe. Try to stay, engaged with the Most High and in tune until next week, right? So we want to bid you a Shabbat Shalom and a Godspeed until next week. Shabbat Shalom. All right.